So we got a couple of trees to take down here. Customer's gonna put in a shed. And we got a nice open area here other than the septic over here to the right to put these trees. Only issue we have is this tree right here has a pretty significant lean back into the neighbor's property. If you can see, it's leaned back probably 4 or 5 feet from where we want it to go. We actually need the tree to go over here towards this fire pit. But for now, what we're gonna do is put a back cut in first on this tree and try to pound it over with wedges. If we can't quite get it all the way over, we're gonna use that tree as a bullet to hit this tree and push it over. The last thing you wanna do is put a face cut in that first and then try to come in for your back cut. The tree's gonna sit back onto your bar immediately and you're not gonna be able to get wedges in the back. So this is a tree you do a back cut first. Make sure if you're gonna practice doing a back cut first, you have no structures around you or septics or anything like that. Do it on trees on a job that you have no risk of anything going wrong in case the tree breaks off backwards on you. This tree, I've already looked at the risks, what could happen if this tree were to go backwards. And realistically, it's just gonna go right back in here into the woods. I don't want that to happen, but I know that the risks are kind of low with anything getting damaged. So that's why we're gonna do it this way. So let's get started. I can tell the lean is straight out this way. So I'm gonna try and put the back cut in and pound it straight that way. The reason for that is there's a lot of limbs up here real close to this other fir, and I don't want them to get caught up and it get limb tied to where it doesn't want to go. So we're going to try and pound it straight out this way against this lean. Back cut first. Okay, so put the saw in a little over halfway is what you want to do, and set your wedges right away. You can pull the tip of the bar out. You're not going to damage your bar doing this. You want to keep it in the cut running once you start getting it all cut up, so you can control the hinge as the tree starts to go. So we're going to put in a couple wedges real quick in the back cut. This keeps this tree from setting back on you. So now, as we put in our face cut, it can't set back. It's only going forward. Cut off the sides of your tree so you can see better where your hinge is. Don't cut too much. Keep a real big hinge. This hinge, it's real thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pound some wedges, and then I'm going to keep this saw running in the back cut, so if it starts to go, I can quickly cut at this hinge to control it where I want it to go. But always leave a fat hinge, because if you cut this thing off, it's going backwards. Take it slow, don't rush these. Wedges are sinking. We're sinking wedges already. Double up your wedges, a small one and a big one. Get more lift. I'm not cutting any more until we can get some of these wedges driven a little further in. Double up with this one. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, here's that crack that's forming in the hinge. That means we're lifting it so much with this thick of a hinge, it's starting to actually break the wood down here on the stump, which is good. That's what we want. Let's take a look from the side. Now the lean isn't near as severe. If you look at the top, it's actually leaned out into the lay now, whereas before it was way back. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut a little into the face, and then we're gonna pound some more wedges. That one's sunk pretty good, so it's gonna go. One worked out just fine. We got one more. All the limbs are heavy out this way. We're going to try and spin this tree out all the way over here with the other one. Here's a tip: when you guys mess your wedges up, use your axe to clean them up. Just like this. Just use a stump, or there you go. That one's good. You get these flares on the side like this after hitting it, just trim them off. Now your wedge is good to go again. Check my other two. They look pretty good. This is so you can use your wedges over and over again when they get damaged out in the field. That's it, nice and clean now. Okay. This next one doesn't really have a lean. Slight lean back. Not much. You can overcome that with just one wedge. The problem it has is all the bones are on the opposite side of the tree here. We want it over here. So we're gonna use a scissor wheel just to ensure we have a lot of holding wood for this tree, because it wants to go here. We want to put it over here or down this open space. So we're going to put a scissor wheel in, aim the hinge or the face cut right out through here in the opening. Look here. About right, we'll go a little bit more to the good. Leave room for your wedges allows this hinge to move into the void. Now we'll start back cut, but we'll leave a nice fat hinge on this side before we wedge. Check your holding wood. And now we're gonna keep checking. We're getting close. But we reserved this big hinge here as a precaution so it doesn't fall off because it wants to go over here. We're getting there. Okay, I'm going to set a wedge in here now. We'll cut up on this side. We can double up now with the small ones. I could tell that thing is laying probably 2 or 3 feet in front of the face cut now. It's not leaned back at all. So we're good there, but we got to make sure again, all the weight of this tree is out here on the opposite side we want it to go. We want it out here. So we're going to keep pounding wedges, and you keep that strong hinge on this side to force the tree to rotate over here. If you keep cutting here in this hinge, what'll happen is it'll just fail and it'll go right into this tree and we'll get all hung up. If you trim on anything, trim on the opposite side of your lean. It's going. Now what we'll do, we'll go around and we'll trim just a little bit on that opposite side of the hinge. There it goes. So in this case, take a look at the hinge. A lot of holding wood, but we did that because we did not want this thing to break off and go over in there. This did start to move into the void slightly. You can see these fibers bending out and starting to move into the void, but we really didn't even need this scissor wheel on this one. But it's better to put it in as a precaution than have it break off and go the wrong direction. So we've got both these down now. We're gonna buck them out and limb them for the customer. I'll take my sweatshirt off. I am roasting. Okay, we're back at it. I had to take my sweatshirt off. I was burning up, even though we're getting rained on out here. Okay, we're gonna buck this up. Always check your chain tension. So it's getting loose. You don't want to throw the chain off. Just suck your drivers back in a little bit. There we go. So they're not sagging too much. Are you worried about the pad at all right here as far as bucking?
That's fine.
Okay.
So you know what would be fun?
Yeah.
To have the customer
in the video?
In the video.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Some people don't want to be filmed.
Well, I think it'd be fun.
quick tip. This is a fresh ground on the chain and the rakers have been set. You can tell that the saw is not binding up in the cut. A lot of times if you drop your rakers too far, the saw will stall out constantly while you're trying to cut, and it's super obnoxious. It's actually kind of a safety issue when you're trying to build face cuts and back cuts. So just remember to keep your rakers right at the optimal height to cut, but not grab so much that it binds your saw up. My wedges over here. When you guys are bucking logs out, it's actually useful to have one of these in your pocket, and I'll show you why. That's what your saw will do if your rakers are too low. So this is just doing this because there's probably some knots in there. But if it's constantly doing this, you're wasting your time. Your rakers are too low. Another tip, if you guys are getting close to the rocks and gravel, don't buck all the way through. All it takes is one miss, and now your chain is trash and you can't cut it anymore. So what I do when I start approaching gravel and things like that is I don't buck all the way through. I come back towards the very end and buck these pieces just in case I get into some gravel. I've already finished the job. When your chips should look like nice big fat chips as you're cutting. If you're seeing a lot of fines in there, you need to sharpen up. This is where you guys can use that one wedge you have in your pocket. When I was bucking through this log, I can feel it starting to pinch. Stick the wedge in there, palm it. Now you can cut all the way through and the piece will just drop. It can't close anymore. So I always have one of these in my back pocket when I'm bucking. Tight. So you see how quick that chain stops? Too fast, right? I can feel it's tight. You're wearing things out by keeping your chains tight. The only time you really need to have a tighter chain is if you're brushing something out where your chain can get flipped off. We're just going to loosen it a bit. Probably about it. That's better sounding. Yeah, a lot freer now. We'll stick with that for now and we'll keep checking it as we go. you guys are bucking stuff on the ground, bring an axe with you. What you can do is pound wedges in. You can actually lift the tree up off the ground where you're pounding that wedge so that you can get underneath of it on smaller diameter trees like this, and I'll show you. Okay, so what you can do with these wedges, put them in the cut as it's going to close, and you can pound them in so you can buck the rest of the way through. Now it won't close on my saw anymore. It saves you from having to get your saw and trap with another saw. Okay, so we'll go down another 5 or 6 feet, put another wedge in. See that? It already broke it. It wasn't bucked all the way through, but it already broke through the rest of that wood that was holding it. Down again, another 4 or 5 feet. Another wedge in. This one will close up almost completely. Just using a wedge though, you can open it back up. Yeah, that's it. Just makes your life easier when you're bucking. Alright, because I'm going to be bucking out a lot of logs on this one, I am definitely using the log ox. I'm telling you what, man, you can't beat this thing when you are trying to roll, 5-6 foot chunks by yourself. Don't even waste your time, unless you got a pulp hook, which works good too, but it's only a little tiny handheld thing. This thing will get the largest of logs. I'll show you how quick and efficient it is for bucking. Grab your log ox, bite in there, and you can roll the whole section. You don't even have to get down there on the ground to roll it. There you go. That's how quick it is. So if you cut up 5-6 foot pieces and then roll them, makes it so much easier to buck the back sides of them instead of one round at a time. So put this in. There we go. Still attached a little bit there. There we go. One-handed with the log ox. Logs bucked out now. We'll go up here and cut off the stump. You see how quick though, using something like that log ox saves you so much work. I mean, you can literally do it one-handed by just holding your saw, putting it on here, and then just rotating the whole entire log so you can buck. So we're gonna cut this stump off. The reason I saved this to the very end is it was dirty. It had a lot of rocks on it. I'll show you. This had a lot of rocks on the backside. I could see it in here. And because when it rains, it kicks up a lot of junk onto the lower part of your stump, and you'll end up wrecking your chain before you can get through all the rest of the work you need to do. So wait to the end on really dirty wood to get in there and finish it out. So we'll go ahead and cut this off, and I'll show you how I use wedges to cut stumps, especially when they're really big stumps, so it doesn't sit down on your bar. See, my saw is still cutting like it was when I got here, because I never got it in the ground on these logs trying to buck all the way through. I cut, 80% through, roll them, and then come up from underneath, and now my chain is still clean. Until that very end. It's already cut off. We're about done. Yeah, we got the trees down, we got them bucked, we got the stumps cut low. One thing you should do for customers is always think about how you're going to leave your site. This job was specifically just to cut these down and leave them, but we bucked them out, and I'm going to roll this off as pad, and we're going to blow this off to make this look nice. You don't want to leave it just looking like a mess. They're going to put a shed in here, so we'll try and clean it up the best we can, even though it's raining today. We'll see how much of this sawdust we can blow out of here. Got the last one rolled off. We're gonna get the leaf blower now, try and get as much of the sawdust out of here, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay guys, now look at how the site looks before we leave. I mean, it's much better, right? So always take a few minutes to make it look good before you leave. Kind of recap here again on some things to consider when you're doing this type of work. Just remember to always look at the risks of taking trees down that have back leans or anything like that. I weighed it all out, right? I left this tree for a reason in the beginning. We cut this one first. This was the back lean tree that was leaned way back over here into the neighbor's property. I left that one because if something would have happened with this tree, say we cut off the hinge by accident, This tree would have protected it from it rolling into the shed, electrical, and damaging these things. So I left that one, cut this one up. It worked out good. I knew that if it did go backwards, there's not much to damage back here. Would have been a lot more cleanup for me, obviously, but I took that risk rather than climbing it or trying to set lines and pull the tree over. Then we moved to this tree, cut that one down, got it spun out to where we needed to, the best we could. It was leaned out into the woods here with a lot of limb weight. So trying to get it all the way over here worked, but I would rather have it been over here. So there's always limitations on how much you can do with wedging and using scissor wheels and things like that. So again, just leave big hinges on the holding side, on the opposite side of your lean, to make sure you have enough wood there to rotate the tree around to where you want it to be. And that's it, we're done. I'm gonna take off. I'll see you guys on the next job we do. If you like watching these videos, obviously you can hit the like button or subscribe, and I'll keep producing them for you. All right, we'll see you guys on the next job. So I was going to put my gear away and I walked by this stump. This is how you don't cut a tree. Okay, it's just that simple. I don't know what was going on here. Somebody cut this tree down a long time ago. It's like a cedar. And they made an angle back cut. The face is all messed up. This is obviously somebody that had no idea what they were doing cutting trees. So anyway, guys, don't be that person to be cutting trees like this. If you watch more videos, learn, get some training or something before you go out and fall trees. I'm pretty sure this was a homeowner or something previous to this homeowner that cut this, but anyway, that's extremely dangerous. Don't cut trees like that.